but to get from start to finish the way that the Mets look, and especially ending up with another blown save by Edwin Diaz, his third in a row, is mind-numbing. It really is. I mean, the infield in the beginning, I felt bad for Jared Eichhoff. And Gary and Ronnie are sitting there talking, and Gary's talking about how Jared Eichhoff is this contact hitter and everything. Yeah, well, you're a contact pitcher. I mean, a contact pitcher. If you're a contact pitcher, you got to have good defense behind you. And Luis Guillorme over there is playing like soccer with the baseball and slapping it all over the place, throwing it between his long legs, trying to bang it over to third base. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And he's known for his great defense, which was even more bizarre.
More at third base than at shortstop. But then again,
these were routine
but it comes
plays.
on the heels of what Taijuan Walker did in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I mean, just like the idiocy of it all makes no real sense. And Jeff McNeil. This is an easy double play. They blew two double plays essentially in a row, and it really put Jared Eichhoff in a really bad situation. And, it's one thing to hit all the home runs and feel good about it, and you're gritty and all this other stuff, but when you really look at the problems that they have right now, they're significant. They're significant. That's a game in a baseball park, as Ronnie and Gary did say early on. I think we're in for like a wild one today, and they certainly were right. But there was just a lot of bad baseball being played, and I guess home runs kind of camouflage all of that kind of stuff. And it was great that they won. It was great that they hit 7 home runs and all of that.
And Michael Conforto looks locked in right now.
He does. And now again, the debate will start. Do you keep him? How much do you pay him? And all of this that's going to come down the pike. Hey, look, it was a 15-11 game. It was fun while it lasted. I tweeted just back at Steve Cohen.
Yeah, I know. I was going to bring that up, too.
What's the final score going to be tonight? And I just gave him the hand over the face emoji.
Yeah, what did you mean by that?
Like, how about, finding some infielders that can actually play infield?
Well, what do you want to do? Trash his team on Twitter? Be like, I can't believe the defense sucks tonight?
No, of course he's not going to do that. I understand that. But, last night I was locked in as a fan, and I was ticked off early on watching these guys play, and just it's one thing to boot a ball. It's another thing to try to throw it through your legs. Another thing now to try to bat it over to third base.
The batting was the worst than the through the legs one.
It's just ridiculous, and it's Luis Guillorme.
Yeah.
And who has been an okay player for the Mets, and, is there anything really distinguishable about him other than he's a good, solid player? And these kind of plays are ridiculous.
I mean, they're
ridiculous. So that's when I was tweeting. I was tweeting in the middle of all the ridiculousness.
Yeah, you like to tweet after you have a couple of drinks as well. Did you have a couple of drinks last night? That's when you pick up the phone. I'll give you credit though, because you never put anything out there that's dangerous. Like the drunk tweeting is very dangerous. You never put anything out that's dangerous. You just like to slam your teams after you have a couple of drinks.
Well, look, they were the Met net negatives last night. I was waiting for Gary Cohen to drop that doozy on the infielders that were booting the ball all over the place.
That's right.
It's one of these weird games. They won it. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. And it's how they got there.
Boomer, because you've got another meltdown situation with your closer. That's what you've got.
We are back in 2019 again.
Basically, 3, and he didn't even blow 3 straight saves in 2019. This is the first time he's done it in his entire career, Edwin Diaz.
So much for flushing it.
Yeah, of course. He's continued to flush it, and that's games down the toilet because he's horrendous again. He gave you a nice little stretch early on in the year. You thought, okay, he's figured it out. He has not figured it out. You can't trust him, and I think it has to be the full picture. It can't just be, well, this year he's been pretty good.
Well, no. Even last year he was pretty good.
He wasn't pretty good.
No, he was fine last year. He got better last year. I mean, like, he was so bad in 2019 that 2020, he had nowhere to go but up.
How many saves do you think he blew last year out of 10? If you think he had a good year.
I'm just comparing it to 2019.
No, I'm just asking because you say he had a good year.
But 2000, he had what I would consider after what happened in 2019, which I don't know.
He was the stone worst pitcher in the world in 2019.
What the hell did they say last night? Somebody said something about some stupid metrics. Oh my God, I wanted to shoot myself.
Don't do that now.
Where is it?
Well, while you bring that up, what?
Gary was talking about advanced metrics. I'm so sick of
just too much of that.
How about just grab the baseball, catch it, and throw it? Is what I want. All right. So to go back to Diaz here. So 2019, the advanced metrics of 2019 for Edwin Diaz probably. And I don't know this for sure, but just feels this way because I'm a Met fan and I'm negative today. And I don't know why, because they won last night. I'm just perturbed at the way that it looked because I think our fundamentals suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, it could have been, it may have been, it probably was, in the history of baseball, the worst performance ever
by a closer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know anything about advanced metrics?
I mean, a little bit here or there, ERA plus and those things, but I don't really pay that much attention to it because the guy's just, he was terrible then. Now, let me ask you again, though. So you said he was better in 2020.
That he was. Yes,
okay,
he was.
out of 10 saves opportunities he had in 2020.
Like 4 of them.
Right, he did. So
I know.
So that's 60%. Success rate in 2020.
But it's better than the 14 home runs they gave up.
Stinks.
Yeah, but it's better than it was.
But it still stinks.
But
it's
was
not
better
good
than
enough.
It was.
But he did not have a good year in 2020.
And then, for the most part, the first half of the season, he has been great until the last 3 opportunities he's had.
Okay, but it's the full picture of who this guy is as a Met.
Yeah, but I'm in this season right now. All right. He's had 3 really poor outings. They've all come back to back to back. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I have no explanation as to whether it's confidence, it's ball location, it's spin rate, it's whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I know one thing. It is agitating. It is frustrating. It is maddening, especially when you have your infielders not even doing the most basic of making the most basic of plays. That's the other aspect is it just looks sloppy. The whole thing looks sloppy. And yes, you're right. They're in a very weak division right now. They have every opportunity to take this division. And the question is, what are the Mets going to do in order to improve this team significantly? Now, they have 2 of their best players on the IL. There's nothing you can do about that. Could you go get a Chris Bryant? I asked you that 3 weeks ago.
Sure you did.
Right. And what did you say?
I said I would love to have him.
So it sounds like where there's smoke, there's fire, that's a very good opportunity that may happen. But, J.D. Davis has been playing great all of a sudden.
Yeah, but Chris Bryant's a significant upgrade, and everybody knows that. And that would be awesome if you could get him here. Makes a ton of sense. To me, you add a big bat. You had something in the bullpen. You had a starter. Two of those three
right.
would be great.
Well, is it like getting Carrasco back, like getting a starter at the trade deadline?
I suppose, but...
Could you say the same thing about Jacob deGrom these days?
Ugh. Well, that's another story because you just don't know what he's going to be and when he's going to be back.
So frustrating. There's no closer in New York for either team. Although you do have secondary bullpen help that can be that guy if you need him to be. Obviously, Chad Green has shown himself that he could do that. Seth Lugo at times has shown himself that he could do that. You do have a former closer on your roster by the name of Jerry Familia. You also have Trevor May, who's pitched better the last couple times out. So it's not totally barren in the bullpen with guys that can go in and close. You may have to go closer by committee.
Let's say, you know how people say, if the playoffs started today.
Oh, God.
If the playoffs started today.
But they don't.
I know they don't.
So what do you say?
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a hypothetical because that's what we do here in Sports Talk.
I do not like hypothetical.
If the playoffs started today and the Mets were in a playoff series with a 1-run lead, are you bringing in Edwin Diaz to close it?
Absolutely not.
Do you envision a scenario in which Edwin Diaz is going to earn your trust the rest of it, even if he converted every save opportunity from here on out?
You said right now, I say absolutely not. Now, we come in September, and somewhere along the line here in August, he gets his act together and goes on, let's say 10 straight saves. Then, yeah, of course, he's back in my good graces.
This is where we differ.
But right now, he's not in my good graces. And he's not in your good graces. He's nobody's good graces right now.
There's nothing he can do to earn my trust back.
There's no fluid to the top here.
No, there's nothing he could do. He's got that tire fire, gasoline can potential that is worse than even the worst closers I've ever seen in Mets history. Like when
he is the worst closer in Mets history.
He's had the worst season in Mets history on his resume. But we could name them all day long. You know, when Billy Wagner was bad, or K-Rod was bad, or Armando Benitez was bad, or even Johnny Franco. When all those guys were bad, you have anxiety when you're watching them. Nothing is like this guy's gasoline potential. I mean, he just lights the mound on fire in ways that I've never seen. So I don't even care if he converts every save opportunity from now until the end of the year. You can't feel confident in him because you know it's in there. You just know it's in there. That Edwin Diaz, your entire life is in your hands, and you're just waiting for the Mets to screw something up, and you see him come in. You're like, Christ Almighty, here we go.
So what do you want to do?
I wanted to get a closer at the trade deadline.
All right. So what do you want to do with him? You want to move him? You want to get him out of here? And
situational righty.
Situational.
Yeah. Situational. Sixth inning, seventh inning, come in for 3 batters. That's what I want.
I know this, and I'm going to just say this and just try to put an understanding on it.
Yeah.
That you have to also take into account the way the athlete sees himself.
Oh, God.
Oh, what do you mean, oh, God?
The way that Edwin Diaz sees himself?
Yeah, you forget.
Why do we need to take that into account?
You tend to forget, okay, that we are human beings as well.
Okay.
And I just want to explain to you that, like the quarterback situation, like there are guys who see themselves as the one guy. I'm the one guy. Then there are those other guys that see themselves as the backup guy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NFL, you see that quite a bit. You see a lot of teams protecting that guy who sees himself as the one guy by not having the guy behind him seeing himself as the one guy.
All right, so let me get this right. If you're the guy, you don't want another guy to try to be the guy because then it'll make you feel like you're less of the guy.
Because if you have 2 guys, then you don't have one.
Oh, I've heard Francesa say that. Yeah. If you have 2 quarterbacks, then you have no quarterbacks.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So I do agree with that sentiment because I was one of those guys myself.
Okay.
And I know how it feels when you are expected to fulfill a role and you are fulfilling that role, and then all of a sudden you hit a little bit of a downturn. Now, this is more than a little bit of a downturn because it's three in a row, and he gave up a grand slam, for God's sakes, in Pittsburgh after he said he was going to flush the one before that.
It's up! Fly ball, left field. Game of grand slam.
So back to my psychology of sport again, and when you have to understand the players that you are dealing with. And, he considers himself, but whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, he himself sees himself as the closer, not as a.
So the Mets aren't supposed to get somebody at the deadline to close?
Not as a situational writer.
I don't care what he thinks he is.
Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I were going to try to acquire a closer, if there's one out there worth anything, I would try to move Edwin Diaz off this team.
Okay, I like that.
You want to get that crap out of here.
Get him out of here.
You don't want that thing hanging over the dugout. You don't want that hanging over the team. You don't want that hanging over Luis Rojas, who is a young manager trying to navigate his way through a season, especially with a closer who's done nothing but fail. So it is the psychology of sport. So we could have callers this morning, and I'm sure we will. He sucks. Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that, assuming that you could replace him with somebody that is a significant closer type personality, or you just have to admit, get another arm in here in some way, shape, or form, and then do closer by committee. You may be able to do that with Familia, with May, and of course with Lugo. But now people will say Familia can't do it. Well, he may be able to do it every now and again. I'm not saying he is the guy that you have to call on every time you have to be in a closing situation. Just rotate those guys and look at the matchups. Look at these stupid advanced metrics and try to get the matchups that you want and use those guys as your closers.
I know
they can do it.
I know it's different because one guy in Edwin Diaz came over in a trade. The other guy, Gary Sanchez, I'm going to compare him to as a homegrown Yankee, but there's similarities here. There are flashes with these guys that are mesmerizing, and both these organizations see these flashes, and they've stuck with these guys too long because of the flashes. and and the contract status, because they've had him on the cheap. So it's like, we could just wait, we can wait. And I can't imagine if we trade this guy away and he turns into the person that we hoped he would be, or in Edwin Diaz's case, the guy he was in Seattle. Both those situations mirror one another. And both of them, in my opinion, have been going on for far too long.
See, I think for the Mets right now, he is at the point of no return. Like the Met fan, like yourself, I'll be a little bit more understanding just because I understand what he went through in 2019 and how bad it was. A somewhat better performance last year, and then up until this point, he's been good. But the problem is, it's stuck in our heads as Met fans, 2019, and that unmitigated disaster. And now we're seeing remnants of that same thing happening right now. And that's why, if you're Sandy Alderson, you got to try to move him somewhere else. I mean, you do, like I said, you have 3 guys that you could actually ask to close at different parts of the week. They don't have to be the defined closer.
Oh, yeah, closer by committee. I love it. Sounds better than Edwin Diaz.
Well, that's what I've been saying. So, I personally, the Met fan sees him now as the villain. He is 100% got that mark on him. It says, he sucks. We want him out of here. And I'm telling you, every Met fan across the board feels the same way.
Who was it? Robles? Is that who it was who used to always point up? He thought it was a routine fly ball, Hansel Robles.
Yes.
And it was always a home run. Oh, I love that. I just absolutely love it. And that's what Edwin Diaz did the other night against the Pirates.
All right, but you see where I'm coming from, though?
I do, Boomer. I see where you're coming from, and I'm with you in lockstep with you.
You are lockstep.
We are lockstep in this one together.
Well, but you also have to understand how Edwin Diaz sees himself, and I don't think you're ready to accept that.
No, because I am ready to accept it if it means that he's off the team. So I am accepting that. Because if he can't take another role in the organization and the best thing to do for him and his emotions is to get him out of here, then great. Get him out of here.
I think he has now crossed that line of no return.
The Rubicon. They have crossed the Rubicon?
I mean, it's 3 in a row now, and it's
what does
not
that
looking
mean? Crossing the Rubicon.
I say crossing the point of no return.
Yeah, but the Rubicon, I say that.
Just Google it.
As if I know what it means. But I don't know what it means.
Then why'd you say it?
I don't know. You never do that before where you say a
lot of people say things that they don't know what they mean. I would say that I've been guilty of that, yes.
Cross the Rubicon. Does anybody know what that means?
I Googled it.
Yeah?
It says to make a decision or take a step that commits one to a specific course of action from which there is no turning back.
Well, there you go.
Bingo. I nailed it.
You did.
You said the point of no return. I said cross the Rubicon. I knew exactly what I was talking about.
Lockstep.
Lockstep.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.